Hi, welcome back. So we're in Chapter 4, FSP V1 project at the outline workflow of the project. We have established the essential seed of this project. We understood the research problem. We actually have gone in the previous session to design even the essential modules. But now it is the time actually to design some sort of an interface that hold those functionality of the modules that we worked on before. Now, basically, first of all, I have decided actually to stick to the same exact idea of the previous design. So we're not going to deviate very much from there. So we expect actually a main GUI looks like this, something similar to that as we done before. Maybe we need only 2 buttons. All right, these are going to be my main functionality of the application. Maybe one of them is going to make view for the sectors in the company, and one is going to be making view for the profile. I mean, I'm trying to mimic the real life examples. Why would you want to make something related to stock market analysis? You need a profile where you actually add company and try to interact with their performance. Here can be the logo side and some other information, doesn't really matter. Now let's assume if somebody would have to click on the view sectors and company, what would actually come out from there? A widget page. This will be loaded here. That's why maybe I should have said, as I said before, something. This is the header, this is the body, and this is the tail. All right. Here is the body where the actual page view will be. And this is the side menu, all right, which actually contain part of the body. So basically the body, this side here, it contains 2 frames. One of them, it's like just limited to 100 maybe pixels or so. The rest could be just for viewing the page. We should mention here that we decided to make here a small frame that hold messages, so anything is happening could be also plugged in here. Once again, I'm not actually expert in design and interface. I'm just doing my best to fill up the gap in case that, of course, such application need a lot of work and different kind of research anyway. All right, so as we said, if somebody click on the view sectors page, and the page will be actually displayed here. And what we expect, I think we're going to make it so simple. We're going to make like maybe kind of 2 split here. A list widget could come here with all the available sectors, because now we have a database. Don't forget, that's why we prepared the data. We have database that contain all the sectors, 3 tables in particular, sector table and company tables, and also sector company tables. So we're actually just tapping into this database, which has been already prepared for us. So when we tap to this, we could go to the sector table and say, well, could you populate this list widget? So this could be on the loading of the main window. This can be populated. Somebody double clicked on one of these sectors, for example, sector X. Okay. What I want on the double click, I want here to have another list widget that gonna list all the companies belong to this sectors. So basically we have to tap onto this table here, it's sector company table, all right? Because we could utilize the database that exists by passing to it str or a string that actually in query from this table say, well, I have this sector which have this ID, all right? And then could you please go to this table, wherever you find this ID, I want you to retrieve for me the list of the companies actually attached to it. So then we can actually basically grab these companies down here. We can actually add one more thing. We could add here a button at the end here. We say add to my profile. So basically if somebody would have to choose this company, okay, let's say add, I want this company now to be added to my profile. So you could add as many company as you like. Just add and then you start adding. Simple thing. Now the next thing we do, if somebody would have to click on the view profile, well, there is another page again will be loaded, which is again going to be occupied this place here. And what is inside here? Well, as you might expect, we need here a list of widgets that have all the companies that I added to my profile. So previously I was adding here By the way, to make things simple, I did not activate this to be on a database. This will be loaded and added temporarily on a RAM. So every time you run the application, the information will be vibrated. Otherwise, you can, of course, connect to a database. But I just wanted things to be simple. It's simple things to do. So basically, if somebody add here, instead of adding to the list widget, you could also make add to the database as well. So we have done this previously, and the same concept is still the same. But in this simple example, we say, well, if somebody click add, it would go and add this company to the list widget, which is going to be, of course, stored temporarily in the memory. So we will have this list widget will be added there. Now, all the company that I have added before, they will be here. And then we can add button, looks like this, and we say, well, this is going to be a view fingerprint of the company. This is the entire AI actually idea that we've been working about. Fingerprint, okay, of this company that I am selecting. Now, again, as I said, for this demo, I have just only activated only one company with the fingerprint idea. I did not do for all the companies. Otherwise, I have to install all the previous 1 year and data for the previous company and etc. So I did not do that. As we have prepared one fingerprint previously, we have seen the idea of fingerprints. Actually, it contains all this 14 different variables, and then we create an image of it. So the idea here is exactly the same. So basically, if somebody click, I should be able actually to view here the fingerprint of this company. All right, but we can add a condition here. You say, well, if you click any other company, rather Turkish airline company, can display message here. I'm sorry, but this application will be active only for one company as a demo. So anyway, if somebody click on the Turkish airline code company here, what I expect here in the left, again, there are some information that again we could create an independent site, the scrap module, like to go and scrap some essential data, such as, for example, the market cap, the PE ratio, etc. And we grab them here. For this example, we're going to do this manually, just put some information as a demo. And here, actually, we're going to make a place for an image display to display the image of this fingerprint. Plus here, we can add button we call live real-time information. So if you click on this, I want to open a completely different widget. It's not belong to the entire application. This is something that I would like to show you how to graph. So this can open completely a new window. Inside that window, that will be actually a graph of the real-time price change of this company. Now this real-time price graph, where the data will be coming from. Remember previously in the preparation here, we prepared actually a CSV file that contain prices for the past 1 year. We said we're going to use this CSV file to be actually used for this purpose. But this is only a file for the past 1 year. But what we want a real-time price analysis. So we expect the graph to be going up and down, graphing. That's why we will be asking, as we said before, a way to stream this information. And this is where I'm going to add this functionality to this application. Now, basically, to stream real-time data, you could rely on some of the available frameworks. Say, for example, Kafka, a framework, which actually basically is acting as a mediator between the producer of the data, and here's the Kafka, and here is the consumer of the data. I mean, the concept similar to this. So this is the producer, this is Kafka server, and this is the consumer. This is the basic idea of Kafka. Now, I could have done that. Actually, I intended to do so, but then I've changed my mind and said, well, how about we speak about independency? How about if we don't want actually at all to utilize Kafka, why don't we utilize what we know? And that's where I decided to work on something quite a bit different. I decided actually to create a Linux server, and this is completely within our capacity, as we have installed Linux server within the premises. And this Linux server is going actually to do scrapping to get the real-time price every 1 minute, for example, or so, maybe a few seconds. Just only the price of this particular company. Actually, it could be just for the company. So basically, this server is working in the background, picking up the data. And actually, while it's picking up the data, is storing the data on its own CSV file. Now, this server, I wanted to mimic the functionality of Kafka. How can we make it works like Kafka? So basically, we want this to start to make a streaming possibility. So why don't we use one of the available libraries? We could actually rely on something called FTP, or service actually. Now, this server is acting also as an FTP. Of course, this is for a medium and small function applications, not real-time perfect solution, but you could actually rely on if you are working within a limited resource, so to speak. So once the FTP is here, the CSV is here, nothing left. So basically, we want to connect this application to this FTP server. So we could just say, well, I am connected to this FTP server. Whenever I click this button, which is going to say, well, view real time, I want you to go and connect to this FTP server. And once you connect there, I want you to go and extract real time, from this CSV, because the CSV here will be filled up with the prices once in a while. Every 1 minute, a new price will be added to this SV server. And then basically what we are doing, actually, we are reading from this CSV. This is a streaming mechanism. Exactly, we are streaming within our own capacity. So we just utilize things that we have our control on them, is published for time. If you are interested to actually work on Kafka yourself, well, many companies do so, but there are some, of course, consideration about the idea of understanding the framework, because you are not in charge here. So this is the service I decided to add as an extra functionality. So you could see the advantage of learning about this application. Number one, we've learned not only to actually utilize the normal way of writing the code, like connecting database, but we saw the use of config. And also we use some other functionality to prepare the background of the main database, and also the streaming functionality. So a few features are really, really valuable here. You could put the idea all together to create something really, really bigger than that. So I have actually worked on the design of this by myself before and then I'm going to show you what is the final application would look like. This is the final application would look like. So the name is in here. Everything is very similar to the previous project. So we have these two buttons, the view and sectors, and the view profile. Simple, nothing special. And here is, of course, the stack widget that have 2 pages. View profile, view sectors. In the view sectors, we have these 2 actually widget. One to view the sectors is double click, and then you have here the companies. Choose one company and click add to, and then the profile, you should see all the company you have added here. And then if you choose one of them and say, well, check the fingerprint, I should be able actually to see this information here. Well, as we said, this information will be just manually put on. Otherwise, you should be actually automating them. And here is the picture will be loaded about this company. Click live price chart that will open completely a new window. That's it. All right, let's go ahead actually and create the functionality of this GUI. That's exactly what we're going to do next and last, perhaps. I will see you then.